there's really no knowledge aspect to anything about this topic of non-duality, you know. Or, you know, you could put it another way, which is that intuitively we know, you know, if there's something like you feel a certain way about something, then you know that you feel that way, you know. If you have a friend and you respect them or you appreciate them, you feel affection for them, then you know that you feel that, right? It's a knowing, like a physical kind of, in a way, like a gut feeling. So that's if you want to, you can call that knowledge. Why not? I suppose my question is regarding the nature of discipline, practice, and effort. It feels like a paradox to practice self-inquiry. Yeah, sure, it is. But see, the difference is very simple, because you could say that self-inquiry is a natural thing, just the curiosity to know, like, who am I? What is this? You know, it's just a natural curiosity. But as soon as it becomes a practice, it becomes a discipline, it becomes a prescription. Then you're going to start doing things that maybe you don't feel like doing that at that moment or that day, you know? Discipline, practice, effort, these things are only really have any true validity in a context if you're doing something that you really love. Like if you are training for a sport, yeah, if you're a professional athlete, you're gonna spend time in the gym, you're gonna do drills of your particular sport. Yeah, so you set up some kind of a routine, you go to practice, you can call it discipline, the discipline of keeping a particular diet and a particular exercise routine. Effort, I don't know. That's maybe, yeah, then I don't know, coach might say need more effort. That'll also be something, if it's worth anything, it's something that comes just from the passion for what you're doing. So in that context, there's nothing wrong with discipline or practice or anything, you know, but if it's just to, because it's part of the whole thing. But if someone is let's say is has a love for a particular sport, they practice it all their life, then they become a professional even at it. Yeah, instead of seeing the gift that is, the opportunities that come up, that everything goes in a certain sequence to be able to fulfill that dream. If then that gets claimed as like seeing oneself as special or better than others, or the ambition to become like immortalized, to leave some legacy, to become the best of all time, all those things, that would just be ego then. So yeah, the discipline, the practice can be misused, but inherently there's nothing wrong with it. But certainly in the context of self-inquiry, there's nothing to be gained from applying some kind of discipline. Because what's the goal? Like if you're a professional athlete, what's the goal? Ultimately, it's your enjoyment. The goal is to win some kind of trophy, maybe some kind of championship. Okay, that's part of it. Winning, if you have two teams in a sport, winning is just part of it. You're trying to win. But in the context of self-inquiry, there's nothing to win. It's not like to pursue freedom as some kind of a goal would be, it's nonsensical. It doesn't work, because the freedom is already the pre-existing condition. So that just drives oneself crazy. That's all. It's as if you were, in the context of sports, it's as if you were practicing a sport to achieve enjoyment. Yeah, you like put in all the work, so much effort, so much training hard to achieve enjoyment. That would be, it's the same nonsensical thing. The enjoyment is already there. You're doing what you love. If you inclined to inquire inwardly with a sort of a sense of curiosity, then that's already its own enjoyment. No, that sense of wonder of what's going on, what this is, who am I, that's kind of irrespective of being free or not, like, or happy or not. No, it's you say someone who does not feel happy, let's say, for that person as well, it can either be a goal-oriented pursuit or not. Yeah, it can either be like, oh, I need to do this so that I will get this or that, whatever, or it's just out of this sheer sense of curiosity, or like, a sense of being fed up with the social games that are played. For example, hey there, Kyle. So this being goal oriented is like an ego pursuit. Yeah, it's to want to be free of ego so that I can be seen as special. You're saying something about living life fully. What does it mean in your view? It means living, like, expressing what you like, your unique abilities. So if you have a talent for something creative, or for business, or for a sport, or for anything, to live that fully, to express that fully, and also to, like, I don't know, like, as a whole, I guess, to express one's own nature fully, to express one's uniqueness. So part of that is one's abilities, but to live like free of censorship, to not pursue the goals of this collective ego, let's say. Yeah, to because what actually happens is that we get it's like a bonsai tree. We get kind of trimmed and shaped into conforming to what's expected. Yeah, like we're encouraged to follow a path that's already been prescribed. It can be so many different ones, but they are things that are already prescribed. We're not encouraged to think for ourselves. We're not encouraged to really live according to how we want to live. So, yeah, to live free of these kind of decrees and prescriptions, I would consider that living fully. Non-duality is like is an aspect of many it's a term that's been used in various philosophies, maybe not as such, but like the yin and the yang in Chinese philosophy would be the same thing, really. Yeah, non-duality, all it means is that there aren't two. So the yin and the yang also, they are like complementary aspects of a whole. So the only thing that non-duality says is that there aren't two different things. That means there is no separation. Yeah. So there, whatever is an essence, yeah, whatever the absolute is, it's undivided. It's not divided into good or evil, or there is no chasm there. There is no, yeah. just not two. The term is kind of non-duality is, I believe it's translated from Advaita, which means not two, which comes from Hinduism. But yeah, oneness, I guess. Like oneness would be a bit more like it sounds more like a thing that you could observe, in that sense, there would be like the one who's looking at it. So, but wholeness or like unlimited, like, yeah. What would get anyone into non-duality? What made you get into non-duality? I don't know, just curiosity. Yeah, I don't know what would make anyone get into non-duality. It's like anyone who has any kind of interest in philosophy or that kind of thing, they might be prone to hear about this term non-duality and then be curious to find out what it's about. But non-duality itself is not a philosophy. It's just a term that tries to point to something that we can't really express in words ultimately. That's all. YouTube pushed Robert Spira to me, and that was how I first came across that term. Yeah. He's super detailed, and yeah, that's a good address to be at, because there's a lot of people who talk about it. Most of which is nonsense. The thing about this term, that things are what it says, that there are not two things, that whatever essence there is undivided. The beauty of that is that it says that there's nothing missing. So that our sense, like a sense of discontent, that there's something missing in my life, all that has to do with is that we're looking for fulfillment in something where we're actually throwing our energy away. We're throwing ourselves away, in a way, to receive some kind of recognition, and then we can pursue the classic thing of career and money and all these things, only to find, even having achieved those things, that there's still something missing. So whereas in actual fact, in the essence of things, there's already no lack. It's only like we're brought up to believe in a sense of lack. We're brought up with a sense of lack, which is a learned thing. I saw it as no separation between our real nature and the divine that creates us. It would say we are not separate from the divine, which means we are essentially God, self, or divine and self. Yeah, except there is no real divinity. That's like a concept that's like has some specialness about it. Yeah, something not to be questioned, holiness, all this. It's yeah. But yes, of course there is no division between. If anything, like the absolute, whatever the absolute is, which we can't know intellectually, it's love. That's what it is. Okay, that's the absolute. So everything is an expression of that. Whatever is in form is an expression of that. Is love taking the shape of that or this or anything? And what creates any kind of disharmony stems only from the human pursuit to set themselves as the special creatures of creation, that everything is about us, that the earth is our servant, essentially. Okay, there is no specialness because the essence is one, singular. There can't be anything that is better than something else. Like if you have a soup, if you're eating a soup, you can't say that one spoonful is superior to the other spoonful, right? It's all the same stuff, so there cannot be any question of superior, inferior. There is only equality, so every single particle is exactly equal. What there is uniqueness, not specialness, but uniqueness, just uniqueness. And that's it. Every expression of this essence is unique. And that's what it's about. Like, that's what we're here for, to express that uniqueness. That's all. And yeah, the non-separation is that thing that it's not even a being one thing and the other. It's at the same time. It's just an expression. It's like you have a painting, a colorful painting. You can't separate the color from the image. It's not possible. They're not separate. It wouldn't be a painting if there wasn't color to use to paint it. And yeah, so that concept of no separation is very simple, actually. There is no, it's immediate. There's nothing apart from this absolute or this essence, and everything is it. Did I follow a guru or teacher when I was seeking? No. And I wasn't really seeking, to be honest with you. No, no guru, no teacher, no. There is no such thing anyway. There are no gurus and no teachers. Anyone who says of themselves that they are a guru or a teacher is cheating, is a charlatan. Hey, see you later, Trudy. Nice to meet you. Then how do you get into this non-duality? It's out of curiosity. Yeah, no, I mean, bye, Trudy. No, so non-duality, let's say, in the way that it's talked about by people, yeah, like there are so many people who talk about it on YouTube. That I only came across on YouTube because a friend of mine some years ago sent me a video. It was like a satirical video about people who speak about non-duality in a very mind-heavy way. So it was like super mental and kind of empty of any real. It was just like two people. It was in a cartoon form, so two cartoon figures were like arguing about how it is, and no, it's like this, no, it's like that. Yeah, but there isn't anybody. And it was made to be funny. It was funny. He sent it to me, and then from there I got some suggestions, and I saw that people talk about this stuff. But yeah, that's how I saw that. That was quite surprising to me that people speak about this with this term. But for me, that has nothing to do with actual freedom. Like, how to say? Like the things that people talk about, the things that we're talking about now, for me, that came way before I ever came to see that people talk about this on YouTube. Okay, that's what I mean. And it's not like getting into it in some way or getting into it's just there is a natural curiosity. Like kids have it. So yeah. If we have a bit of space in our life from this pursuit of from this ambition to satisfy expectations from others around us, if we have a little space there, then so many things become apparent. You know, if there's a little courage to go our own way, to think for ourselves, then so many things get revealed. And yeah, then it's really not about seeking or and seeking. Okay, you know, really, what are we seeking? We're seeking something different, something new, like a way of living that is fresh and real, not fake and somehow depressing because it's a path that's already been walked so many times, and then we are kind of stunted in our expression of ourselves. You know. I watched a lot of videos about non-duality, but I feel a lot of phoniness there. Yeah. Good for you. That means your sense of what's true and what's not is intact. Good for you, because a lot of people don't see the phoniness. You should be happy about that. It's a high degree of a high quota of phoniness. So yeah. How do you differentiate when someone is truthful about this topic? The same way you do. The same way you do. You're saying that a lot of phoniness. So as soon as you feel something phony, just don't. Then just turn it off. You know. It's how do I differentiate? I would differentiate if I see any video. You feel it immediately. It's in the eyes. It's just a sense of how. It's hard to say how. Yeah, there you go. See, it's a feeling for me that I can't explain. I would say exactly the same thing, literally word for word. So you're asking me how do I differentiate it? I can't tell you anything apart from what you say. So my answer to you would be exactly the same. Can't explain it. Just feel it. Yeah. Just trusting that's the whole story. In life in general, I don't mean just for discerning what's phony and what's not. It's a feeling we can't explain. If that's number one, it's already over. That's already the whole ball game, you know? You know, like everybody knows that feeling of like questioning that, then doubting it. Yeah, but who am I to like a million people are saying one thing, but I feel something different. The majority, you know, maybe they must be right, I must be wrong. Just doubting, though, that's where all the trouble comes from. Have you heard about uncompromised non-duality, like Tony Parsons, Jim Newman, and some other speakers talk about? What do you say about it? Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. I've heard about that. Radical non-duality, pure non-duality. There are a lot of people who speak in that way. Like somehow Tony Parsons has kind of become the style, you know. I mean, what originally, let's say, what Jim Newman talks about is genuine, but the way it's heard and other people who have taken it on and speak about it themselves without really speaking from a place of freedom, it's open to a lot of misunderstanding. Yeah, like it's I don't know what do I say about it. If someone speaks from a genuine place, then it's a genuine thing. If not, then, and there is a lot of phoniness. Yeah, a lot of people who've listened to someone like Tony Parsons so much and then had some kind of an insight and then run with it and taken it as claimed it, as it were, okay, and then are talking about it, and just, which is misleading, it's misguiding. There are things, there are like nuances or subtleties that get overlooked completely. To say this, so this pride about the radicalness of it or the uncompromisingness of it is misleading, because you can talk about it in one way, you can talk about it another way, and you're still talking about the same thing. Yeah, like there are other people who speak about it in a different way, but it's actually, the essence of it is the same. What we're talking about is the same. It's just like it's like having the elephant in the room and coming at it from a different angle. That's all. The compromising lies in the compassion aspect. Okay, so if somebody says something or asks a question about suffering, for example, yeah, what non-duality is very simple. What non-duality really says is that there are not two things, which means that there's no division, no separation, which means there is a wholeness, there is no lack. Okay, so how can there really be true suffering as a condition, as an absolute thing? Yeah. So the compromising would be to say, oh yes, I know you're suffering, now I'm going to give you some kind of a path, some kind of a practice that you can do, so that you become my follower. Yeah, that would be the compromising. But if it's true, if it's truthful, it's already uncompromising. If there's true honesty, then it's already uncompromising. I think it's a way of talking about it that people have misinterpreted and misunderstood a lot. What happens is that there's this expression, I don't know if you've heard it, which is to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So if you're giving a bath to a baby, then you drain the water. So throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Yeah, this whole thing about that there is no one here. It can get misinterpreted so that the baby gets thrown out with the bathwater. That actually, what this is actually about, this sort of expression of the essence in form, that is all illusion and false, and only the kind of the empty, only the emptiness is valuable. Yeah, so that this happens in spirituality a lot as well, in a lot of spiritual orientations, that the self, whatever is already here, let's say the expression, the unique expression of the formless in this form, for example, that should be, I should get rid of that, then I would see the truth. That's throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So that's nonsense. And that's unfortunately how it gets misinterpreted. But you can see that very quickly if someone keeps saying like, yeah, but there's no one here. Yeah, but there's no one here. And then they start talking, instead of saying I, like I is super taboo, then it's saying here. Yeah. What for? If you're going to be really radical or really truthful, then there is as little an I as there is a here. There's no space, there's no time, there's no space, there's no ultimately there is no absolutely existing form. Okay, so the word here isn't any more valid than the word I. Very simple. Yeah, so it can, again, that can be said to sort of make a point, but to take that as some kind of now the school of thought of radical or pure or uncompromising non-duality, it's misleading. But it's just it's like it's a unique way of talking about it, like everyone will have their unique way of talking about it. It will make the beauty of it, of how Jim Newman talks, for example, is that it bypasses the mind. It's something that can't be understood, so it'll block, like anyone who comes with some kind of like, oh, I want to resolve this problem in me, or this, that I feel this suffering or that thing or whatever, it just gets blocked, like there's nothing there for you. So it has its value, it bypasses the mind, and it's his unique way of expressing. So, but there can also be pride attached to that way of speaking.